And it is not just Georgia. With companies coming out against GOP-led voting bills across the country, Republicans in corporate America are on the outs. NBC News political reporter Allan Smith writing, dust-ups between big business and the GOP are becoming more frequent as Republicans lean into culture war issues. Adding the divide could be possibly one of the most consequential in U.S. politics and society. Allan joins me live now. Allan, big corporations, the Republican Party, have traditionally been more in lockstep on economic policy, things like deregulation, tax cuts. But a Republican lobbyist told you that is not cutting it for new voters. Tell us more about the divide here.
So really what's happening with this divide, and you can see it in a number of episodes so far this year, whether it be the backlash over, Mr. Potato Head or Dr. Seuss or other much more, severe blowbacks as we've seen in Georgia this past week. It really goes to these companies facing a lot more pressure from, outside advocates and activists that they need to be taking more active stances, but also from their own employees and from a younger consumer base that they're trying to attract. Meanwhile, this is running up against a Republican Party that is very focused on cultural issues right now, very much wanting to be opposed to a lot of the things that these companies are now speaking out against. And you've got a Republican voting base that is now becoming, more and more white working class as the Democratic Party manages to gain inroads with more well-to-do suburbanites. And you're just seeing some of that traditional Republican base sort of fracture and be remade. And some of the policies that the Republican Party has really been speaking to for years, they're just not necessarily as attractive to the base that the party's becoming.
All right, so let's look at what some top Republicans are saying this week. Donald Trump calling for a boycott of baseball after the MLB pulled the All-Star game out of Atlanta. And today, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had these strong words for corporate America.
I found it completely discouraging to find a bunch of corporate CEOs getting in the middle of politics. My advice to the corporate CEOs of America is to stay out of politics.
You spoke to Republican Senator Pat Toomey. Allan, what's his take on all this?
Well, I mean, of course, it's kind of, ironic to hear language like that now. Of course, people have been pointing back to the Citizens United decision from the last decade when, corporations were essentially deemed as people that have their own rights to be expressing political opinions. And now that some of these opinions have been expressed, it's not going over quite so well. But what Senator Toomey said was that there is this strain on the right for more, quote unquote, economic populism or economic nationalism that might actually lead to some Republicans proposing, more regulations on some of these companies. Maybe they might not be in such favor of tax breaks for these corporations anymore. But he also said, look, this isn't something that's obviously a dominant strain on the right now when it comes to economic policy. And basically nobody that I spoke to said that, all of a sudden because of this, you're going to see Republicans be, against lowering corporate tax rates and whatnot. What you might see, though, is with the Biden administration looking to raise that corporate rate in the tax plan that they would like to pass, you might see conservatives just withdraw from that battlefield. They'll talk about the individual tax rates, but you're not going to see them put up quite the same level of fight on corporate rates and whatnot.
Allan Smith and his excellent collection of bobbleheads. Great to have you on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.